Last income tax reduction bill on our side. The bill originally came to the Senate with a 10% reduction for both personal and corporate income. The fiscal note was a $152 million reduction. We already approved an amendment here on the floor that reduced the corporate portion to a 5% reduction, and the fiscal note was reduced to $125 million of tax relief. In March, OMB gave us a new budget forecast, and that same reduction was re-estimated to be $108 million. On March 26th, we sent the bill to appropriations, and they have further amended it for our consideration here on the sixth order as follows. The personal income tax is reduced to a 5% reduction, making the bill 5 and 5 for corporate and personal. The effective date is pushed back 1 year to 2016. These changes reduce the fiscal note to $33 million in reduced taxes for the next biennium, all in the second year. Mr. President, those are the amendments that came back from your Appropriations Committee, and I request approval of those amendments from the full Senate.
Further discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the proposed amendments to House Bill 1223. As many as are in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. The amendments are adopted. We'll switch to the 14th order, House Bill 1223. Madam Secretary.
Engross House Bill 1223 with Senate amendments, a bill for an act to amend and reenact Sections 57 relating to corporate and individual income tax rate reductions and to provide an effective date.
Senator Lafine.
Mr. President, House Bill 1223 is now an income tax reduction bill of 5% for personal and corporate income. The fiscal note is a loss of revenue of $33 million. Your Finance and Tax Committee gave this bill a do pass of 5-2 before the amendment that we just passed, and your Appropriations Committee gives this bill a do not pass by a vote of 12-1 after the amendment. Mr. President, I personally think income tax reduction is important, and I will still be voting for it. The fiscal note history on this bill as it has progressed through the session is sort of interesting. Started out at $820 million reduction by eliminating income tax. It went to $152 million at 10 and 10, then was amended to $125 million at 5 and 10. Then the OMB revised their budget and it went down to $108 million, and now we have left $33 million as we stand here today after we amended it. I respectfully request that we do not take it to zero and ask for a green light on Senate Bill 1223.
Senator Holmberg.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, just a few words about why I believe your Appropriations Committee is urging you to vote no on this particular bill today. We're reaching the stage of the session where some tough decisions have to be made and some prioritization. The last report we had from Legislative Council was that we are still some $66 million to the red when we look at our general fund for the end of the biennium, if we pass things as they are today. Our goal has been, and it has been stated on this floor, we would like to have an ending fund balance of some $200 million. So we have to look at the priorities of this session. Top priority has been property tax relief. We have done a lot on property tax relief, and just yesterday you passed 1059, which worked on the homestead tax credit for low income and senior citizens. That's all within that purview. Income tax and corporate income tax relief have been an issue that this legislature has addressed session after session. According to an email I received yesterday from the tax department, since 2009 we have reduced as a legislature individual income tax 49.5%, corporate income tax 39.4%. As we're sitting here today making these final priority issues, we have to keep in mind that there are still differences between the Senate and the House. For example, in the area of elementary and secondary education, there's a $140 million gap between the Senate and the House. Do we want to spend this $33 million on additional income and corporate income tax relief, or do we want to try to narrow the gap? The Senate passed the elementary and secondary bill with a 3-3 increase for our schools. The House sends us back a 2 and 2%. In Human Services, we are $39 million apart, and the first meeting of that subcommittee, or the conference committee, is today. In the payments to our nursing homes that the executive budget had at 4 and 4, the Senate reduced it to 3 and 3. The House has reduced it to 2 and 2. The question is, do you want to spend this $33 million from this biennium on the additional income and corporate tax relief, or do you want to spend it on trying to close that gap between us and the House on Human Services? I'm not picking on those two agencies. It's only because that's where the money is. So, Mr. President, the Appropriations Committee, on a vote of 12-1, do respectfully urge that we have done our job on tax relief in the property realm, and let's take a 2-year break in these other two areas.
Senator Carlisle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with our Appropriation Chairman. I've been on these bills. In fact, I was on a couple this time. I am not comfortable at this stage of the game. Number one, predicting our budget out in 2 years, and our chairman's right, 33 million we certainly can use other places. This is the first time ever I voted against personal income tax relief, but I'm going to be casting a red vote because I think it's a responsible thing to do.
Senator Mathern.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was just reviewing the emails that I've received over the past couple days as I prepare for this vote, and it's very clear that the citizens are asking for a number of services that they still need from government, and I've received no support for passage of an income tax bill. So I would support the words of the chairman of the Appropriations Committee that we vote no on this bill and that we close out the session funding those requests that our citizens are asking for.
Senator Miller.
Mr. President, the most responsible thing that we could be doing in a down economy like we have in the state of North Dakota right now is cutting taxes and reining in spending. And what I'm hearing from this body right now is the exact opposite.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, the questions on the final passage of House Bill 1223. Secretary, please open the key. Each senator record your vote. All senators have voted. Any senator wishing to change their vote? Secretary will close the key. The final tally on House Bill 1223 reveals 13 senators voting yea, 33 senators voting nay, 1 senator absent and not voting. The bill is lost. Continuing